All right, what's going on, Giants fans? I wanted to make a quick video about this because I actually have a ton of thoughts, but I didn't want to tweet it and turn it into this whole debate, so I want to just do a video on it. On Jordan Raanan's podcast, who, he does for ESPN, he was talking about some trade deadline stuff, and he just mentioned, there was some talk with the Giants about Kenny Golladay and the Lions. So I want to go through it piece by piece. First of all, the Lions aren't going to trade Kenny Golladay, I don't think. They seem to be buyers at the deal. I mean, they traded for Everson Griffin, who's on a one-year deal from the Cowboys. So it seems like they're buyers, and they're trying to be aggressive, and Matt Patricia trying to save his job, like Raanan said. So I don't think they're going to be trading Golladay anyways. Two, the Giants probably aren't willing to give up what Golladay would take. Golladay would probably take a second-round pick. I don't think they're looking to get rid of a top 5, at the time, second-round pick for Golladay. A third-round pick would be a different conversation, but we'll get into that. And then 3, people were so mad, like, how are we being buyers at the deadline? All Raanan said was that there was a conversation, that there was talks. It's due diligence. And one of our favorite followers and people I follow is I call him Research Rick. He pointed out, he's like, there's nothing to be mad about that. They talked about it. Like he said, it could have been like this. The Lions called, asked about Dalvin Tomlinson. Like, what are you willing to move on from him for? Said a third, no, that doesn't work. Like, hey, what's going on with Golladay? I know he's an expiring deal, and the Giants, I think, are going to be wide receiver buyers in the free agency market. We'll see. Because Jones, the offense needs a wide receiver, regardless if it's Jones or another QB. So it's like, it's relax. I know the Leonard Williams stuff last year. But I want to talk about Kenny Golladay just as a player, since he has been brought up, and let's talk about him. Golladay turns 27 on Tuesday. He was picked in the third round of the 2017 draft. He's 6'4", 214 pounds. He is what the Giants need. He could be Daniel Jones' Plaxico Burress, and I'll get into the Plaxico Burress comparisons. But he really could be that. I mean, last year he had 65 catches, 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 18.3 yards per catch. That was third in the NFL. Third in the NFL behind Mike Williams and A.J. Brown, 2 other young wide receivers that I like a lot. Now, his catch rate was only 56%, which isn't great, but like I said, it's actually pretty close to who Plaxico Burress was as a New York Giant and a Pittsburgh Steeler. This season, he's played in 4 games. He had 20 catches, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16.9 yards per catch, which is, still top 10, and then a 71.4 catch rate. We'll see how it evens out through the season. But nonetheless, and you guys saw probably the highlights of his contested catches against Atlanta. I'm a big believer that the Giants should go and get a wide receiver in free agency this offseason. Allen Robinson's been a name I've pointed to a lot. But Golladay, the more I look at him, I think I might have him above Allen Robinson. This dude is a gamer, and let's look at it. Would activate Shepard in the slot more, because we're going to move on from Tate, whether it's through a trade or at the end of the season. And then Slayton gets a lot of off coverage, shaded over help, and it kind of impedes him. Like that's what the Eagles did this past week. They just kind of played off coverage, hey, we're not going to let you get past us. And every time they do play tight on him, Slayton is literally pointing, hey, look, let's take a shot. So, but Plaxico Burress, I have the numbers here. Plax in with next to Hines Ward. His last season, Pittsburgh had 19.9 yards per catch on a 59% catch rate. So pretty similar to Golladay. Then he comes over to the Giants, has 20 touchdowns in 3 years, 3,227 yards in 3 years, and his catch rate was about the same. So he can be that Plaxico for Daniel Jones. I like Golladay. And honestly, if the Lions were willing to give him up for a third-round pick, I would do it. Now, you want him. You can make a trade and be like, hey, this deal needs to be done. It's you trade him and then you sign him to extension the next day. Kind of like the Bears did with Khalil Mack. Where it's they didn't just, when they traded for him, it was understood hey, we're trading for you and we are extending your, giving you a contract extension immediately. So that works for me. You can say, oh, we don't want to give up draft capital. Screw that. You're saying we could get a third-round pick for sure really good wide receiver in Golladay? Let's look at our third-round picks. Matt Parrott. I like who Matt Parrott might be, but I would trade for him for Kenny Golladay in a heartbeat. O'Shane Ximines, trade for him in a heartbeat. Lorenzo Carter, BJ Hill, I trade all those guys. I trade multiple of those guys for Kenny Golladay in a heartbeat. But the impending free agency is a big deal. So if you can't get a deal done right away, then it doesn't make sense, and it's a lot like the Leonard Williams deal. The difference, though, is that Golladay is a need. Like, a wide receiver is a need on this offense, where Leonard Williams was not a need. We had Dalvin Tomlinson, Dexter Lawrence, who we just invested a first-round pick in, BJ Hill, who we like, and has actually been kind of productive this year. Austin Johnson, we signed him. RJ McIntosh, I know people are down on him, but that guy on 10% of the snaps last year had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 QB hits. I mean, honestly, really good production for a little bit. So Leonard Williams wasn't a need, and Leonard Williams is a good player, but he's not top of the class. You know what I'm saying? He's not. There's a gap between the top guys and him. And you could probably say the same about Golladay, but Golladay changes the way this offense works, and it gives Jones a guy to go take shots downfield and make big plays, and makes defenses respect that side, which allows stuff for Slayton, allows stuff for Shepard, allows stuff for whoever the tight end is, whether it's Ingram or Caden Smith, that be underneath as checkdowns. So I love Kenny Golladay. I think I've been saying Allen Robinson might be my number 1 target in free agency. The more I've looked at Golladay, I think I'm switching over to Golladay. I really think I am. The guy's a lot of fun to watch. Now, the reason you can't trade him, though, is then you lose all leverage. Like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams knew that the Giants had to keep him. So that's why he didn't get a deal done, I don't think. It was like, hey, I'm not signing unless you give me top dollar. So they franchise tagged him. Now he plays a better year. He's probably going to get more and more money. So that's where it's a little bit different. But I do understand the sentiment. We shouldn't be giving up draft picks. But I'm a big believer. You take guarantees over shots, and that's what Kenny Golladay is. He's a guarantee. I love draft picks. I love looking into these guys. But the hit rate is a lot lower than 100% in Kenny Golladay. Now, I do agree. We should be gaining assets. But if you could do a straight up Dalvin for Kenny Golladay, which won't happen, I would take that in a heartbeat. But nonetheless, I agree that we really shouldn't be buying right now. And, Golladay, hopefully we can get him in free agency. I hope he doesn't go anywhere else. I like Allen Robinson too. But hopefully one of those guys is somebody the Giants can go out and get. And then you don't have to draft a wide receiver in the first round. Or you could draft one in the second. It makes your offense more flexible. Makes your offseason more flexible. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that real quick because the Kenny Golladay rumors, I will say, got me excited, even though it probably makes me look like a hypocrite. All right, let's go Big Blue.